Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Italy, a Place to Love YouTube channel. So, in today's video, I want to talk about, let's say, the crisis and an hypothetical recession that we might face in the future, in the nearest future or not. So, I'm not here to tell you, oh, it's going to happen a recession, but I'm studying I'm studying the subject, so every day I spend a lot of time uh, investigating, studying the economy, and because anyway, personally, I like to invest my money properly. So it's important for me to be aware of the things that are happening constantly, daily, here and there. Let's say political, geopolitical, economical, and all the things, all the factors that might affect, for example, the financial market. So I'm analyzing constantly, I'm analyzing every day what's going on the market, and what I've processed in the last, let's say, 6 months, but lately what I processed is that we are in a phase where, for me, according to me, everything is at the all times high. So now, whatever type of investment, I'm gonna explain you now. Anyway, any type of investment that it might be possible to make here and there. Um, so I see it quite high. I see it like, oh, now this could burst, and this could burst, and the bubble here could burst. So I want to try to put the pieces all together in this video and telling you why, for example, I'm out from any type of investment, not from any type of investment at the moment, but the reason why. So let's start to talk, for example, about the gold. Now, if I check the price of the gold, we see that the gold is quite expensive at the moment, nearly doubled in the last 3 years. So if we want to buy 1 ounce of gold at the moment, this morning, now we are talking about $2,900 an ounce, so which is quite high. Let's say at the moment we can say that the gold is an all-times high. So the price of the gold went up, in particular for, let's say, from September, October 2023, the price doubled, simply have doubled. And so if we decide to invest in gold, gold is always highly recommend for me to invest in gold, into the gold, but I'm a bit refrain at the moment from investing into gold because I'd say, okay, I had better times when to buy gold, and at the moment I see it quite high, even if technically might not be late. Technically, to buy gold, it could be never, it might never be late, but gold is one of these things that I see it at an all times high. Then, what else is another all times high? The Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but let's focus mainly on the Bitcoin. For example, now this morning we saw an example. I follow the cryptocurrencies, and so only only yesterday, or between Saturday and Sunday, the price of the Bitcoin dropped to $80,000 per one Bitcoin. But only few weeks ago it reached another all-times high, which it was $108,000. So for one Bitcoin, which it was another all-time high. So we have gold that is an all-time high, Bitcoin that is another all-time high. Okay, what else is at another all-time high? Properties, the house market. Now, wherever I'm trying now to buy, if I'm looking around and I want to buy a property, I see that the house market is kind of overrated. Now, it's overrated here in Italy, it's overrated in UK, it's overrated in the United States, it's overrated in Germany. So, whoever wants to buy a property nowadays realize that we are talking about, anyway, properties are overrated. Now, I'm not saying that the fact that it's already high, it might not go even higher. I mean, I'm not saying this, but make me think. So, we have gold that is an all-time high, Bitcoin and the cryptos that are another all-time high, houses, again, another all-time high. What else I can invest money, for example? Okay, let's talk about the stock market. Dow Jones, Nasdaq, Standard & Poor, or the British market, the Italian market, the German stock market. Anyway, even if I should invest personally into the stock market, let's say, or to not talk about Nvidia, for example, or Apple, or Tesla, or Amazon, or Google, whatever has very high market cap, okay, at the moment, I see it kind of overrated. So, again, I think, for example, if I should start investing in the, if I should invest some money and I would like to enter into the stock market, I see the graphics in front of me and they say, come on, we are at an all-time high. Why should I enter now? Now, I mentioned four things at the moment. I mentioned the gold, I mentioned the Bitcoin, I mentioned properties, and I mentioned the stock market. Technically, now, why I'm refraining, what stops me to invest, for example, any type of investment? Why not to invest my money now? Simply because when I see the graphics, I see that we are on another all-time high. And personally, I never enter into an investment, even if it's an all-time high. So each time I see something that the graphics are very high, then someone might say, for example, oh, Antonio, but it can still go up. That's true anyway, but for me it's very risky to enter now in any of these four type of investments that I just mentioned. So I'm not gonna buy properties, I'm not gonna buy gold, I'm not gonna buy property, I'm not gonna enter into the stock market, and that's fine. Then what else I see, for example, at another all-time high? The exchange euro dollar. For example, we are noticing that the dollar is getting stronger. Now, I don't remember in the last 20 years a moment where we had such a strong dollar, for example. So I don't see it convenient to exchange my euros, for example, in dollars now, because if the dollar then starts weakening, I'm gonna have losses. So I don't even see it convenient now. To buy dollars. And so, then, let me say, before I keep going on, talking in this video, so, basically, at the moment, I'm out of any type of investment. What I'm doing is something very simple because, anyway, I have money I have some money in the bank. Unfortunately, I'm not very happy to keep the money in the bank, but I don't see any alternative at the moment, because if I don't want to invest in these type of things that I just said, then what else should I do? Obviously, I don't have an alternative. We might technically have other alternatives, but I'm not even mentioning. I'm not gonna take a big amount of money out from the bank and just keep it under the mattress. Doesn't make sense at all. So keep the money in the bank, keep it at 3%, 4% interest. Anyway, it's already something. At the end of the year, I do 1 year investments. So each year, I never keep my investments in the bank longer than 1 year. Every year, I say, okay, now I put 20,000 euro at 3-4% interest for 1 year. Then I might have maybe higher percentages of return in interest if I sign a 10 years, if I'm gonna buy 10 years bond or 5 years. But I decided, because I want to take these interests every year, so I'm gonna get 3%. It's not a lot of money, it's not important, but because I see myself in a difficult situation where to enter in other type of investment, the 5 that I told you before: gold, Bitcoin, properties, stock market, and to buy dollars. I see myself kind of, these are all these 5 are at an all times high. So I see myself in a difficult situation to enter into this type of investments. Okay, what should I do? What could I do? Now, let's do a big short, okay? Let's do a big bet on a bubble to burst. No, I'm not gonna do that, because it's very risky anyway. Then trading with leverages, derivatives with leverages, that is something that I do in very little amount of money, but that's very risky anyway. So I don't have the courage to say, okay, I'm gonna make a big short, a big bet that everything is gonna crash and collapse. So I'm not gonna do this. I'm just saying. So I'm happy to keep my money at 3-4% interest. Then when the contract expires, let's say in few months, I have my money back plus the interest. Okay, let's see who is gonna offer me maybe 4-5%. Is there anyone? Because obviously always free to unblock this money. Because I always do this type of investments with the bank, that I should always be able to cash in case I see the opportunity to do a sort of investment. So let's say at the moment I'm stuck in this position. Again, I see these 5 things that are the main type of investments that I could make. I'm not gonna enter in any of these. What else I see in a bubble? And this is the thing that makes me worry more than anything else. What else I see at an all-time high, more than a bubble? The debts. The government, the country, the government debts. Now let's start from the Italian debt, the Italian government debt. These deserve one video. Simply just this deserve one video, because many people, for example, are saying, oh, Italy is bankrupt, Italy won't be able to pay back their debts. Now, when a country is not paying back its debt, then it's bankrupt, then goes in default. So will I predict a default of Italy? Technically, no. Now, I know many people might predict, for example, a default of the Italian country, the state of Italy, to default simply because they are not able to pay back their debt. But anyway, there are things about the Italian debt that make me think, for example, that the Italian debt cannot default, and these are technical reasons, and that I'm not gonna explain now, because anyway, I will make maybe one video just for the Italian debt, because it has to be prepared. You see, I don't really prepare my videos. These are just random talks where I like to share my thoughts. I like to be as much natural as possible when I talk in front of the camera. I don't do video editing. I don't cut if I make a mistake when I speak in English. So I don't really care, because what I want people just to focus on the topic. I don't really like to set up backgrounds. Like, I don't prepare these type of things. I want to be as much natural as possible. Anyway, then we have countries like Germany that is not doing well. The British debt also very big. The American debt. Now, I would focus on the American debt. The American debt is the one that scares me more than anyone. Sorry. Scares me, even if there are the foundations also on the American debt. I'm not saying that because in the United States they have this debt of 36.5 trillions, 36,000 billions of dollars in debt. Anyway, the American system has its way to support this debt. So I'm not gonna enter into these details as well, because anyway, there are the reasons. Now, I can give you just a stupid example. The fact that in all the world, to purchase oil, you need to exchange your currency in dollars. For example, this allows the Federal Reserve to keep printing dollars, because anyway, the world is constantly in demand of dollars. This is one of the reasons why I cannot see, even if it goes to 40 trillion, to 45 trillions, to 50 trillions, I don't see, unless there is a de-dollarization, which I see anyway not very close in the near future. I don't see a de-dollarization in the nearest future. But so all these things that I mentioned, anyway, even the debt, the American debt, the Italian debt, are at an all-time high. So we never had such a high debt. Again, I might see some difficulties, but what do I want to say at the end of this video? And then let me know your opinions, your considerations under the video, if you watch the video up to now. So that, anyway, gold, Bitcoin, properties, houses, properties, stock market, dollar, and debt. These are all things, these 6 things that I mentioned are at all times high. Now, my question is just one. What's the percentage that one of these or all of them, they're gonna crash simultaneously? Can be just one. I think the percentages of a crash are very high, simply because I have 6 things that I mentioned that they are at an all-time high. And technically, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe these things, they can stay up at an all-time high forever, for the next 10 years, and so my forecast then is wrong. But technically, when I see that everything is an all-time high, I'm technically thinking that here everything is in a bubble. Simply everything. I believe that we are living in a big bubble at the moment. So now this bubble can burst or not. I'm not saying that it's gonna burst. Personally, I see very high chances that it's going to burst, but I can be wrong, because I'm not a fortune teller. I do only my forecast, I do my studies, I can be right, I can be wrong. I like to listen different opinion. I speak constantly every day with other people who are thinking this and who are thinking that. I share my opinions quite daily anyway with other people, simply to understand what are the feelings. Obviously, I see that the GDPs, the economies are not growing, inflation is keep growing, financially people are more in debt, families are asking for loans to keep going on, and the salaries are always lower. They're cutting salaries. So I technically see everything in a bubble from one side, and from the practical side, from the everyday life, I see a lot of problems. Now, I see a kind of situation where technically the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Now, if the rich that are getting richer are able to keep these bubbles on for another 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, fantastic for them, for the rich who are getting richer. What about these poor who are getting poorer? So I'm trying to understand. Anyway, it's very, very important for me to understand all the dynamics of the economy in general. Then we have, anyway, China, for example. What's the role of China? What's the Chinese role in all this situation? What are other countries doing, for example, to sort their economies? Also, China is not doing very well. Also, China has its own problems. So, at the moment, what I see is that kind of many countries are rushing to buy gold. This is what I've noticed in the last 10 years, and I see that there is a high demand of gold. So we might see even the gold going higher, even if the gold, I think that personally might drop. Now, there's only one thing that is not at an all-time high, and I see extremely underrated, and is the silver price. So the silver. I'm constantly focused on the silver because silver is so underrated. There is a ratio between gold and silver, how many ounces of silver I need to buy 1 ounce of gold, and this ratio never been so high like never before. We need at the moment 93 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold, when the ratio for me should be 25, 30. Let's say 30 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. That for me. Then, anyway, about silver, there are a lot of things to say. Anyway, this is the only thing that I don't see overrated, the silver. And there is a system to keep the price of the silver extremely low. Now, I'm not going to explain now. So, overall, to say that I'm at the window, so I'm very cautious. I'm trying to understand what are the dynamics in this global economy. Maybe we can also talk about the end of the globalization. So they sold from the year 2000, they sold to us, wow, globalization is fantastic. But we noticed that the globalization now is over. So we are technically in a financial war worldwide. So, and basically because anyway, the thing that I'm more interested are the properties, but because the properties are so overrated, now my forecast, if that is one of these bubbles, one of these 6 all-time high, let me call them bubbles, one of these 6 bubbles is gonna burst. And if not only one is gonna burst, but if they're gonna burst all of them, we're gonna see a big financial crash. Big. And that for me is the moment for which people who are interested in investing, then they might say, okay, that is the moment to enter into this and the moment to enter into that. I obviously want to buy properties here in Italy, in particular in Salento area. I'm waiting. I said to myself that I'm gonna wait between 6 months from now and 1 year. So I'm not gonna purchase anything at the moment. I will stay at the window. Let's say now we are in the beginning of March 2025. Let's say that by the end of 2025, I have to take my decision if to enter or not into my investments into properties. Then, if I don't see myself ready to enter, I generally don't enter when I see all times high. So until I don't see a kind of housing bubble to burst, I'm not gonna enter, because I never buy properties when they're very high in prices. So then I might stay at the window, but obviously my goal is to buy, to put then these properties to rent, to let these properties. My plan is to buy at least 4 properties, 1 for me to live and 3 to rent in Salento area, which I see is the most profitable in all Italy. So I've studied now, since I opened the channel, I've been watching and looking at the property prices all over Italy. I might say there are beautiful areas like Abruzzo, Molise, Marche, Umbria, but I don't see it as profitable as Salento from the letting point of view. Anyway, my friends, so this was just to talk, to have a chat with you about the economy. What's my point of view about the economy at the moment? So let me know under the video in the comment section what your opinion is about these things. If you also like to invest, or if you just let's say, I believe, okay, a lot of people are living day by day. That's fine. I mean, not everyone has maybe is in the position or has this attitude. Me, I like to share with you anyway my opinion. I'm also curious to know your opinion, because even I like to listen even who thinks completely the opposite or different from me. I'm not the kind of person, oh, you and shut up. No, don't talk, don't share. No, I might disagree, but I always want to listen the opinion of who thinks opposite than me. Anyway, my friends, so I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you here on Italy A Place to Love YouTube channel for my next video tomorrow here on my channel. Have a nice day, and bye for now. Bye.